Nobody noticed it when it happened. Not the journalists, not the pundits, not even the millions of fans who watched him every single weekend. For almost a decade, football kept calling Cristiano Ronaldo a winger. The strange part is, by the time everyone agreed on that label, it had already stopped being true. This isn't the story of how Ronaldo became one of the greatest goal scorers in history. It's the story of how football completely misunderstood what he had already become. To understand it, you have to go back to Manchester. 18 years old, a skinny teenager from Madeira with a bag full of tricks and no idea what he was about to become. He didn't play like a machine. He played like a boy who had never been told what he couldn't do. Every touch invited another trick. Every defender became an audience member. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But one thing was impossible to miss. Cristiano Ronaldo was born to play on the wing. Or at least, that's what everyone believed.
The early years at United tell you everything about the player he was, and almost nothing about the player he was becoming. Electric, infuriating, brilliant, and wasteful in the same breath. He could beat a fullback 5 times in a single match and still end the game with no goal and no assist. And the crowd would still applaud. Because at that point, the performance was the point. The entertainment was the product. This was Ronaldo as a winger in the purest sense. A player whose value was measured in excitement, not yet in outcomes. Then came the 2006-07 season, and the footage begins to tell a different story. Watch his movement in that season carefully, and something becomes clear. The runs are no longer going past the fullback toward the byline. They are going through him, toward the center, toward the box. He finishes that season with 23 goals. For a wide player at Manchester United, that number alone was extraordinary. But the number is not the point. The point is where those goals came from. Headers at the back post, drives from the edge of the box, runs onto through balls down the inside channel. Not the cutback, not the cross, not the byline. The penalty area. Again and again and again. Whether consciously or instinctively, his game was already reflecting a different logic. The wing had stopped being his destination. It had become his runway.
Ferguson watched all of it, and when asked years later whether he deserved credit for the transformation, his answer was immediate. Ronaldo is a perfect example of someone who made himself. Many coaches might say, "I made this player," but Ronaldo made himself. That single statement tells you everything about what Ferguson understood, and everything the rest of football missed. The transformation was not imposed from outside, it came from within, and the man closest to it refused to take credit for it. But there was one person at Carrington who did intervene, not tactically, psychologically. René Meulensteen, Ronaldo's skills coach at United. In a conversation that has been largely overlooked in every telling of this story, Meulensteen asked Ronaldo how many goals he had scored that season. 23. So how many next year? Because I assume you want to do better. Ronaldo's target was 30. I think you should score 40. You just have to score as many goals as you can. Those perfect goals will happen. But the more variety you add to your game, the more you will keep that clicker going. Ronaldo finished that season with 42 goals. The click had started, and it would never stop.
Then came Moscow, May 2008, the Champions League final against Chelsea. Before the penalty shootout, Ronaldo had already headed United into the lead from a central position. Not a winger's goal, a striker's header. Timed, precise, completely central. United win the trophy. But the moment that matters most that night is not the goal. It is not the penalty miss either. It is something quieter. A player who arrived at the biggest match in club football moving like a striker. finishing like a striker, occupying the spaces strikers occupy, while every broadcast graphic still listed him wide left. 1 year later, June 2009, Real Madrid pay 94 million euros, the most expensive transfer in football history at that time. And the story the world tells about that moment is straightforward. Madrid paid the most, Ronaldo wanted the biggest stage. But that reading misses something important. By 2009, the player arriving at the Bernabeu was not the winger who had left Lisbon 6 years earlier. His movement, his positioning, his goal record, all of it pointed toward a player who had already fundamentally changed what he was. Old Trafford was where the transformation happened. The Bernabeu was where it was going to be completed. And then came José Mourinho. And here is where the story takes a turn that almost nobody has told correctly. Mourinho did not arrive at Real Madrid trying to turn Cristiano Ronaldo into a striker. He arrived trying to solve one specific problem: Pep Guardiola's Barcelona. Between 2009 and 2012, Barcelona were the most dominant club side in football history. Their possession game suffocated opponents. Their midfield controlled every match from the first minute to the last. Traditional wing play against that Barcelona was largely ineffective. Barcelona's defensive shape was too compact, their recovery runs too fast, their press too intelligent. Mourinho's answer was not to fight Barcelona on the wings. It was to attack through the center. Fast, vertical, ruthless. Direct balls in behind the defensive line. Counterattacks launched in 3 passes or fewer.
And at the tip of that system, arriving late into the box, attacking crosses from deep, ghosting between center backs, was Ronaldo. The 2010-11 Copa del Rey final against Barcelona confirmed what the movement had been suggesting for years. Ronaldo won it with a header in extra time. And according to those inside that dressing room, it was the first time in his professional career he had officially played as a number 9. Not listed wide, not assigned to the flank, a center forward, on paper, for the first time. The position he had been playing without the label for 3 years already. Mourinho did not create this. He simply gave it a name.
The results that followed were unlike anything the game had seen. 2011-12, La Liga. 46 goals in a single season. A record that still belongs to a man who, according to every tactical graphic produced that season, was listed as a left winger. 2013-14, the Champions League. 17 goals in a single European campaign. A record that still stands. Scored from everywhere. Headers, free kicks, tap-ins, volleys. From positions that wingers, by definition, do not occupy. And through all of it, the broadcasts kept listing him wide left. The match previews kept placing him on the flank. The tactical graphics never changed. Football had named him once, and football never looked again. That is the quiet scandal at the center of this story. Not a misunderstanding of Ronaldo's ability. Not a misunderstanding of his ambition or his work ethic or his ego. A misunderstanding of something far more basic. What position Cristiano Ronaldo actually played. The boy who arrived at Manchester United in 2003 played on the wing. He played there with joy, with chaos, with complete disregard for efficiency. The player who left Old Trafford in 2009 used the wing.
He used it tactically, as cover, as a starting point before the real movement began. These are not the same thing. One is a home, the other is a disguise. And the extraordinary thing is that the disguise worked perfectly. For over a decade, while football debated his tricks and his crosses and his delivery from wide positions, the player wearing the disguise was quietly becoming the most prolific scorer the sport had ever seen. From the center, from the box, from the places wingers are not supposed to be. Football kept calling Cristiano Ronaldo a winger. Cristiano Ronaldo never corrected them. He simply kept arriving in the penalty area from positions wingers are not supposed to occupy.
Kept scoring goals from angles wingers are not supposed to reach. Kept breaking records that wingers were never supposed to threaten. By the time football looked up and tried to understand what had happened, the labels were already wrong. The position was already obsolete, and the player once famous for his stepovers on the left flank had already rewritten the history of the game from the center forward position that nobody ever officially gave him.